Now, James has said to me categorically that he wouldn't take that job. He wants to be the coach and coach only. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Eddie and Jimmy as the AFL series, the home and away season, is over for 2026. It's funny when it actually happens, isn't it? Because we've been talking this year about wildcard rounds and things, and suddenly it is all over for a number of teams. 207
games done and dusted, Ed.
Yeah.
It felt like it took a long time until we got to this point.
It's an interesting 2 years. I think I was contemplating this in discussions over the last week regarding the fixtures and the likes and where it could go and etc. And I must admit, the AFL need to take a deep breath in the next 5 minutes and get themselves set to really launch into season 2027, because we've limped into it with the opening rounds that have been a failure. Right? Now, there's going to be a line through them. They're not going to happen again. And we need to have a good look at how we got to. I thought the last 2 weeks have been ordinary. I think, again, I'm not advocating my fixture, but it fixes it up because I looked at this and anticipated what was going to happen. I thought there were just even the fixturing of having Collingwood versus Brisbane and Gold Coast versus St Kilda was ridiculous. In that situation, you play the Melbourne-based teams against each other, in that. But my way would have been that we would have had 4 elimination finals.
Can I ask you?
Anyway, but I just think it fizzed out.
3 years you and I have been working together, and I think in one of the first weeks you spoke about the fixture. So this is not new, and
that and drugs.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you have.
So I'll just say that. I mean, deep heat, rubbing it in right now, okay?
Yeah.
I've said drugs, the drug policy, and the fixtures. And at the start of the year, when the new chairman came out, Craig Drummond, and said, we're going to stay with a day grand final and we're going to do this with a drug policy, I came out and said on this show, which keeps getting quoted by Michael Warner and others, that I came out not against Craig Drummond, because I think Craig Drummond has potentially... he's got to get through a few things at the moment, but I think he's the right guy for the job at the moment. But I said at the time, they're your first 2 decisions. They are sidestepping the 2 biggest issues I think are in football, and you're on notice.
Yep.
And here we are at the end of the year, and the fixture is still all over the shop,
and
the drug situation is now all over the place again. I mean, we've got the old mate at the Crown who's allegedly been involved in things over an historical level, and we've got the issue that happened last week.
Yep. So no doubt,
and will continue and continue and continue.
So no doubting your media craft, of course, of just setting things up beautifully for later in the show.
Yeah.
But just on the one, and I still remember your line, putting the fix in the fixture. That was like, I think probably week 2 or 3 when you and I started working together. A lot of people agree with your suggestions, or they find little ways to take your ideas and run with them. You've always been a solution-based person. So the big question I get asked from people when I walk the street and they say, hey, I love Eddie's idea on the podcast. Do they listen to you at the AFL?
Well, they do.
You have the ear of many in the.
Well, I'm not going to suck up. I mean, I was in the meetings for 23 years as president. But you do have to change people's thinkings, and. If it's someone's idea in there these days I'm just a pundit.
You're more than just a pundit.
But I am a pundit. But obviously I lean in. I have conversations with people. I'm not trying to play the fair maiden on the side. I too, and I'm reasonably aggressive in my conversations here, and I speak to the people without fear of...
Do you feel like you're getting traction with some of the...
Well, I don't know if I get traction. I think they listen. Now, whether or not... I also take into account that they usually have a lot of other things that they have to take into account.
Yeah, correct.
But I suppose I come at it from a point of view of having been a broadcaster. So I sat in these meetings when Nine got the rights back in 2002. So I've got a good run at this. I also came up with ways to get Collingwood from being broke to going forward.
Yes.
I also did the negotiations that resulted in $250 million going to the AFL for Marvel Stadium and get 25 grand finals. I was also involved in the rebuilding of the southern stand, or the paying off of it, and the rebuilding of the member stand. Right, so I've got a understanding. Yeah. And these days I declare an interest. I sit as a trustee of the MCC and a lover of the game. So I've got a fair bit of knowledge, and I do go a lot overseas, and it has become more than a hobby for me to look at what I believe is the biggest issue in sports at the moment, and you can go online and it's really becoming an issue and will be highlighted for the third year in a row at a Sports Next conference that I'm the chair of. So what I'm saying is I'm all over it. Okay,
Yeah.
so I see the things,
and that's why
and I push it
people,
forward.
and that's why, to use your term, the average pundit or the rusted-on footy fan, they hear you talk and they hear you make suggestions, and they know you have a great work, a great connection. You've got the ear of many people. Like, are you getting cut through, or are they placating you by having that conversation?
Look, all you can do is put forward your ideas and your scholarship. And I get a bit annoyed sometimes. Oh, he's doing it because of Collingwood. No, it's not. We have to get these things. If you have a look at my fixture, it actually drives events into Western Australia, South Australia, New South Wales and Sydney at the right time of the year. As I've said, no point having an opening round and sending people to Queensland during cyclone season.
No.
How about go when it's cold in Melbourne, where that's the majority of the tourism dollars that are going there, or to Perth in the middle of the year, so you can go to Broome for a holiday or do whatever the case may be. There's ways of getting around this thing. But again, I mean, we still have to test some of my theories as well as far as match receipts are concerned. But equalisation has now become a far bigger issue. And there's ways of doing things now with electronic ticketing, whether it's a Collingwood member or Geelong member at the game. So we need to work through all these things, but there's ways of working through them if that's what we need to do. So, I just think the last 2 weeks haven't cut it for me. And in fact, they've proven my point. So we would have had, at the end of these 2 rounds, we would now be in a final 8, okay, having played off, and along the way, all those games. So I'll give you an example. One of the best games of the weekend was Essendon and
Port Adelaide.
Why? Because they had matched up. They were like for like at the end of the year. And that's what would be happening as these teams dropped out. Play to sing the song, play for your spot on the ladder. You've already got the draft's already done, based on everyone playing each other once, and you're actually playing for the future of the game, and you can play the kids, and we'll play so-and-so here, and this is what we're going to do, etc., etc. And you can actually take the pressure off and go and enjoy the football with your kids. I like that. Again, if the top teams had been playing each other for qualifying and elimination, we would have had 4 elimination finals. We'd have 6 weeks of finals, is what I'm trying to get to.
Yep.
Now, the fleas on that is how deep do you come down to give a team a chance to come up and win the flag.
McGuire line.
Yeah, well, I mean, as I said, somebody sent me a note and I laughed at it, and it resonated with me. As I said, there's fleas on all these things. Unless you play everybody once or twice, there's going to be mitigation there. But somebody said, 1916 Fitzroy won both the wooden spoon and the premiership. Okay, yeah, that's a fair point. But at the same time, I do like a little bit of the romance, and if you can win from starting at 16th, good luck over a 6-week period, then that is one of the greatest comebacks of all time.
Yep.
But chances are it's not going to happen. But at least people go and they see a final, and it's like for like. At this time of the year, the dead fixtures have just taken all the fun out of it.
It's hard to argue against.
Well, even Collingwood Brisbane on the weekend, you knew what was going to happen.
It's funny, actually, the last round would have been more exciting if it was a final 8.
Would have been a final 8, yeah playing for that last spot.
Because the Dogs would have leapfrogged.
But if you've got 4 games in that period, 8 games in that period that are elimination finals, and the others are actually putting you in position to play home finals, etc., and people go, but doesn't that take away from the home and away season? No, because you get your rankings. So what I'd do is I'd get rid of the lowest ranked losers. They're out. And that means all weekend you're watching to see maybe, we're a chance if so-and-so beats so-and-so.
Yeah.
It keeps you interested in it.
It does. You got to keep them engaged.
Well, as I said, unless it's a direct play everybody once or play everyone twice, then I believe we should, if we're going to fall one way, we should fall towards making every game count.
How would you counter leave the game alone crowd?
Well, but the game's it's not good.
No,
it's no good.
No, yeah,
no. As far as this is useless.
Yeah.
The fact that we're having this conversation after the end of the season, we're still scratching our heads. Hey, before we get on to Sydney and that type of thing, I really was disappointed by North Melbourne yesterday.
I was too. because I've been as optimistic as anyone who isn't a North Melbourne supporter or doesn't have any skin in the game for North Melbourne, and I've probably been one of the more vocal people to say they've improved. So I was disappointed because I wanted them to finish the year strong, and they certainly didn't finish it.
Probably underlined for me that Harry Sheasel's the Nick Dacos of North. We already knew that.
He's a super
But
player.
pull him out of that side and, geez.
He's an extraordinary
They
player.
come back to the field pretty quickly, don't they?
I can't believe there's people who pick scabs off Harry Sheasel. What he's been able to do.
What do they have against Harry Sheasel over?
Oh, there's always people that
Oh,
find reasons to
don't-
pick scabs off players.
What did Dennis Pagan say? You argue with idiots long enough, you won't be able to tell the difference. It's a very good line from Dennis. He had plenty of them too.
Was it? Yeah, argue with clowns. I'll beat you for experience. And
Yeah,
all that sort
exactly.
of stuff.
Right. So that's the downside. The upside is we're in for a ripping final series,
Yeah.
and well, instead of having a week off, we're going to have the playoffs.
Yep, and
The wild card round. So that's good.
the last one in being Carlton being probably the most informed side of the competition.
Yeah,
That's exciting. I'm Big Kev. I'm excited.
it is. Yeah, but the D's. What do you think of their performance?
I think it spoke more to the Western Bulldogs than the D's. That was a rollicking game of footy. The fact that the Dogs were able to actually defend properly for once and kept Melbourne under 100 points.
They've hit a bit of form, the Dogs. Although I'm a bit worried about.
I know this sounds like really obvious, but I was watching that game, and I do it every single week, but sometimes you sit there and you watch Marcus Bontempelli and you just go,
He's a superstar.
He's extraordinary.
Yeah, he's worth the price of admission. And Ed Richards, I think, is the other one.
Love Red Richards.
So who does Ed Allen go to?
The Bont.
Yeah.
He's a big unit, Ed Allen.
Oh, yeah. That's
He's a massive
he can
unit.
go with him, yeah.
He's enormous.
Yeah. And Bont's got that. I mean, he's playing on one leg.
He's so good. And I know that's the most obvious statement.
Hopefully his baby has colic this week. It keeps him up all night.
Yeah, congratulations too.
No, exactly. I'm
to
sorry.
the Bont.
I don't mean that.
I know where you go. It was very tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, don't go past his house tooting the horn. Or anything like that.
Wake up! No, I know that was the most obvious statement, but my goodness, sometimes you have to sit back and go, as a footy lover,
Yeah.
he's so good.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got two MCG finals, which is great, and they'll fill up. I mean, Carlton will turn up in their numbers. Melbourne will turn up, so that'll be a sellout. And D's and Dogs, Pies and Dogs will be big, obviously, because, Maggie's turn up all the time, and Dogs like coming to the MCG. From that point of view, let's give kudos to the AFL.
Yep.
The actual wild card game itself is going to be a good,
Yeah, I can't wait to see
two
it.
good games of footy.
I'm going to hold my judgment on how it's gone until we see it.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to talk some Bombers?
Yeah, I don't want to get to that just yet. Let's finish off the season, then we'll come to the Bombers and the Swans outside of footy.
Okay.
I thought the Swans, by the way, just on the game itself. My son Xander said to me, he said, "Don't tumble into these. The guys are out. Have a look at the guys coming in, Rowbottom and these blokes.
Yeah, they've got some depth.
They've got some good players there.
Got some good young players coming through.
And Rowbottom was fantastic. Played a sensational role on Davies Uniacke, and he's Rowie, I've known him since he was this big. He used to come to the Collingwood. He came to the 2018.
BT's nephew.
Hey?
BT's nephew.
BT's nephew.
Paddlebum.
Yeah. But his father and his family and Charlie, his sister, of course, is the
Who's the gun.
superstar AFLW player. But he came, he was mates with Joe. They played junior footy at Pranding. In fact, played under Hurdy. Hurdy was their coach. And he was a ripper then. You watched a couple of kids, when you play, watch under 11s, you go, he can play. He was a star. And but he was mad Collingwood, so he used to come in for the Collingwood photos.
How good.
Rowie over the years, but he's been just a mad football.
And well
kid.
done to Charlie Kerno, third Coleman medal. Puts
that's
him
a great effort.
Put him some elite company there.
Yep, and leaving the Blues and going to that's been a good win for everybody.
Yep.
So that, but I think there's been a lot of talk about the culture of the Sydney Swans. So leaving aside all that, okay, you look at it, and Dean Cox said he hadn't thought about the game until basically Saturday, Sunday. And the players came in and they played the system and they played with enthusiasm. They played with heavy hearts. And at the end of the game, seeing Callum Mills, we all love footy and we love footy people. I remember when I first started Collingwood, I said to my wife, I said, the thing about footy, the really good people in football are the best people you'll ever meet.
Yep.
Okay.
Can't disagree with that.
There's fleas everywhere, but the really good people in footy are, the mediocre people in footy are great people. That's the way I describe it. So to see that pain and suffering on those players, and then to see the Swans supporters give them a standing ovation at halftime, I thought dug into. I didn't think it was blind enthusiasm. I thought it was actually from the heart, and I thought everyone who was at the Swans game, who went to the women's game and then left, I dipped a lid to them as well. They had to think about what it meant to them, and everyone can react the way they need to react or want to react. So I thought all up it was a really sad week for the game in so many ways, and the game itself, I was fascinated by it. I watched all the women's game. I watched all the men's game, and you're watching from. I really wanted to actually be there. The old journo in me, just wanted to go and just watch and see what was going on and talk to people. But I just think from a horrible situation there was a little bit of growth there and learning.
Yeah,
and I can't fault the Sydney Swans in the way that they've reacted to the most horrible situation, and that's all you can do in life.
Yeah, I think as the week went on, they got better. I think obviously when you get news of things like that and how you handle it and your first reactions are critiqued to an inch of its life. But I think as the week got on, I think they got stronger, and that's not just the football club, but it's their supporter base.
Yeah.
Everybody around Sydney in general.
Yeah. But don't forget, these things explode.
They do.
And you're putting out. You're trying to, get on top of the mistruths while you're trying to actually find the truth.
Oh, you're scrambling.
And everyone's in it. So, I mean, hopefully now Victoria Police can do their job. Everyone knows that everybody's looking after everybody in this situation, including the players themselves, who are just going through the most horrific situation. They did it themselves, but they're there. But it doesn't make it any easier for all those who love these people, and as we said, the women involved themselves have been have to be looked after, and they've got their legal support now and the like. So probably enough there. So to me, I think now, let's let Vic Pol do what they need to do. The Sydney Swans have shown that they have been, and I think the AFL deserve a bit of a tick as well for leaving it to the Sydney Swans and playing a observatory role. Not sticking their head in, not rushing to be ahead of it, which they the week before did. They learned from that, and I think they've done a good job. And now let's see how it all unfolds. Can I just while we're on it, first blush, do those players stay, or does Sydney look at it and go, righto, we nearly need to just really make a cut on this and we'll talk footy because there's a footy podcast, but if you said, righto, Heaney goes somewhere, Blakey goes somewhere, Warner goes somewhere.
I'm not avoiding your question. I don't
It's too early.
No, I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
And so they'd be casting judgment and completely declaring that I don't have enough information.
No, that's fair enough. And I agree with you.
Just on the AFLW, crowd of 16,672 showed up for the game. So well done.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. Well, from all these things, there's always learnings.
Yep, that is 100% right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people jumping on about people being stood down, etc., etc. I think it's on a case by case basis in these situations rather than having a catch-all. But that's it. That's one opinion.
Well, the problem we've got again is we're so urgent to get everything out in a situation where we need patience.
Yeah. And it's counterintuitive to the media, because that's the media's job, is to get the story, and the more salacious the story, the better the story.
Absolutely,
it's as simple as that. As we always say, mate, if it bleeds, it leads, and if it's a football and sex situation, then it leads even more. So there it is, and anyway, let's move off that. What we're going to go to next? Essendon, right? Okay. So it looks like Mark McVeigh's got the job.
Yeah, it appears you've won the race.
Which, can I say, we said here I'm not going to do the we said at the time because it's moved around. It's been all over the place. But the president of the Essendon Football Club said to me, and I reported it on here from day one, that he didn't necessarily want to have James Hird as the coach. He would have liked maybe him to be the director of football. That role may well be put in front of James Hird. Now, James has said to me categorically that he wouldn't take that job. He wants to be the coach and coach only. So that's a situation. But he is very close with Spike McVeigh. And Spike has been at the coalface with the Sydney Swans and has been a great Essendon person. Yes, he was in the wedding party of Andrew Welsh, but I think he was in the wedding party of Matthew Lloyd as well, which I think I don't think I did. I emceed it, and I went to Hirdy's wedding, and I think they're all there as well. So that's
Usually got some side hustles, don't you?
That's it. Yeah.
MC and
how much you reckon? How much you reckon Lloydie paid me?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Hey,
President of Collingwood doing the weddings.
So last night, of course, the news broke last night. Kel Toomey reported it, and I worked with Hirdy on a Sunday evening, and so as we came to air, the news was being reported. I asked him the questions of, had he spoken to Essendon? I hadn't spoken to him yet. I want to start with also, he couldn't have been any more humble and magnanimous about his respect to Mark McVeigh and how deserving he is for the job. The next bit was he hadn't spoken to Essendon.
Yeah.
He hasn't had any discussions about any other role. He still has a passion for coaching, but what that looks like he's unsure of.
Yeah. I wonder whether, because I think had James got the job as coach, I think he would have got McVeigh on board.
Oh, I think he would have been really keen to get Mark McVeigh.
Yeah, so whether now James looks at it and says, okay, in the cold, hard light of day, I don't want to coach any other club. I love Essendon. What's the best role I can have? Remembering that the president is close, they do know each other, but it's always hard when you become, if you're the president of the club, you're running the show.
Yeah.
So there's a fair bit of that as well.
Well, yeah, you're representing all the members.
Yeah.
Well, they got 80,000, 85,000?
Oh, well, the Bombers are a huge club.
No, I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
You're representing a lot more than just your friend.
Yeah, but you're the bloke who stepped up to fix a club that has been, shattered for the last best part of, 10, 15 years. Well, they haven't won a final for, 20 years or something? Anyway, whatever the case may be, it's a big couple of days for the Bombers.
Huge.
The only thing I'll say is James Hird's got so much to give that club.
He's got so much to give footy.
Yeah, and he's paid his penalty well and truly. Yeah.
But we wish them all the best, Essendon, as far as...
Yeah, well, it's good for business when they're going well.
Yeah, well, hopefully onwards and upwards from here.
Yeah. Realistically, they've got a couple of years of pain yet to come.
Yeah, Mark McVeigh's got some big... When Craig Vozzo and Andrew Welsh have got some big appointments to make around Mark McVeigh too.
They've got to rebuild that club.
Yes, set him up so we can succeed.
But one of the big things that I'd really say to the Essendon supporters is you've got to think of it as this is year zero now. This is not we've had 20 years of missteps or whatever the case may be. It starts now.
Yeah,
and you're starting off. I mean, the one good thing that happened to them yesterday was they lost.
Number one pick.
Get the number one pick, walk a few people through in the preseason, and you got one last go before Tasmania gets in the way of all that stuff. And, some of the younger players started to look all right yesterday. Granted, they weren't playing Brisbane Lions or anybody, but it's where you start.
Yep.
And, they're 3 or 4 years away from being any good. But if they can actually start to build up the Bombers again and stop, killing each other behind the scenes, then that'd be a great thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
You want to rub it in?
Yeah, well, I've rubbed mine in already.
Deep heat, extra strength, feel at work, always read the label and follow the directions for use. Use the heat. I use the
deep heat.
You've got a good deep heat voice, don't you?
Oh, you got a better one.
Deep heat.
That's it, exactly. Yeah.
Hopefully that signs them on board for next year.
Were you in the choir at school?
No, not at all. I'm tone deaf.
Yeah.
I've got hearing issues, and I think I've got singing issues as well.
I was a mouther in the end, I think.
No.
My singing career ended in 1 week in 1977.
1 week, you lasted a week longer than I did.
No, 1 week it was from drawn grand final to grand final. The next week, voice gone, shattered, never came back.
No,
I ruled myself hoarse at the back-to-back grand finals of Collingwood, North Melbourne.
I remember being in grade 2 at Herne Hill Primary School, and the music teacher went around and wanted to hear everyone start singing, and I got one note out, and they go, "You can take recess early, actually."
I moved into the band.
Well, I can't even keep a beat, so
No, I moved into the band.
man's got to know his limitations.
I got asked if I'd be on the Masked Singer.
This is, hang on, 3 years and you've kept this from us. Well, what song? What song would you sing?
No, well, none. They rang me up and they said they thought I was trying to jack the price up, which I would have, of course, but I wasn't. I said, "Have you ever heard me sing?" And they said, "No." I said, "I've hosted 3 Logies, I've hosted Brownlow medals, I've hosted Allan Border medals, I hosted the footy show, I hosted the grand final footy show for 15 years. I said, "You haven't heard me sing." I said, "There's a reason for that."
Yeah.
If I could sing, I would have opened up Who Wants to Be a Millionaire every night with a song.
I'll put it this way. After you've had a couple of tipples of Scottish or Irish whiskey, a bit of Lafroig or something like that.
Yeah, you got to gargle with that.
Yeah. What would be... Yeah, you're at home, you've had a couple of those. What would be your go-to song that you know word for word?
Oh, there's plenty of. I mean, you can always hide behind a K-San.
Yeah.
Because you can yell it out. You can get into a bit of Barnesy mode there, and a bit of the old Scottish accent comes to play. But no, I'm like you. I seriously, I love music. I love all types of music. I listen to it all. I love classical music. I was in a brass band as a kid and all that sort of stuff. I love it all. Music, pop, I'm probably not up. I've probably stopped sort of around, I'm a big 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s rock music, that sort of stuff.
That's smart because you work on Gold FM.
Yeah, well, I do Gold FM. Well, I work on Triple M, so I know a bit about the Foo Fighters as well, But so that's my hitting zone. Like, you can play one note of a song, I'll pick it.
Well,
I'm good at that, but these days I couldn't pick a Beyonce song from a whoever.
Lady Gaga.
No, Gaga. No, well, I had dinner with Lady Gaga.
Oh, geez.
With the Rolling Stones.
Is this the start of a joke or?
No. Did I not told you this story?
Of course you haven't told me this story.
I was
actually, kind of one I
was in a police cavalcade with the Rolling Stones from New Jersey to back to the Carlisle Hotel in New York. So what happened was I was there. It was supposed to be the last concert of the Rolling Stones in New Jersey in the house that the boss built. And Bruce Springsteen, Gary Young Jr., Lady Gaga, I'm trying to think of somebody else, another huge star, all played at MetLife Stadium in Jersey. So we drove over to Jersey. It was with Paul Dainty, who was promoting it, Paul and Donna Dainty. And I had the boys with me, and Carla. The boys were only pretty young. Anyway, at the end of the show, we were down in the mosh pit and up in the box. We had the access all areas, backstage, all that sort of stuff. And at the end of it, Paul said to me, Satisfaction's their last song. When they start singing Satisfaction, head down, jump the black cars out the back. I said, yep, no worries. Go on that lift down there, boom. They'll be waiting for you. So Satisfaction comes on. It was one of the best concerts I've ever been to in my life. It was unbelievable. So we go downstairs, jump in the van. Well, here's our van. And then suddenly, as the music goes and the applause and they're all screaming and all the rest of it, out comes Mick, out comes Keith, out comes Charlie. The whole team, everyone's out there. Ronnie Wood comes out, one in front, one the next one, and their families, and we all get into out we go. So straight out, while the music's still playing, basically, and we're out into the night air. The cops have got the police escort all the way through, and they're coming up. So Joe and Xander are hanging out the window taking photos, and this is unbelievable. What's going on here? And there's, the cops are filing back this. It was the full presidential. So we go. They've got the green lights all the way to Manhattan, right into the Carlisle Hotel. So we've gone right through up Fifth Avenue. No, not Fifth, up Sixth, I think it was. And then, because Fifth goes the other way. Anyway, I get up there, pile in, and then we're sitting, the Dainties and us, we're sitting there. They bring out some food. We're just in this room, and then suddenly in comes Mick's family. They're sitting there, and at one stage I looked across, and Keith Richards is with Johnny Depp. Looked like a father and son pirate reunion. So they're there, and Lady Gaga came and sat down, and she was having dinner with us, and all this sort of thing. It was quite an unusual situation. And James Young, from the Cherry Bar, he'd sort of crashed into the outer party, and the door's open. He's looked in and seen me sitting there, gave him a wave. But yeah, that was one of the great moments.
Oh,
yeah, the full cavalcade. The police escort was good enough.
Yeah.
But then we ended up in with all the family, and you're talking to the daughters, mixed daughters, and everyone. Charlie Watts is over there. I was talking to Ronnie Wood about, his best mate Rod Stewart, and how Rod's a mad Celtic man, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, amazing. Anyway, has that got anything to do with this week's round of footy? Or?
Broadmeadows to Broadway.
The great thing about being in my life in journalism has been exactly that. I've had a ringside seat to history all the way through. And so you pick up a few things along the journey.
It's a bit hard for me to go to my rub it in.
Roz, you can rub it in.
Mine is, I floated this idea because I know you got one of the great marketing brains, is the prize pool. So you talk about making the last round more entertaining. So when Logan Morris he's kicked a big bag and he's about to slot through his eighth, that if we had the prize pool, and I just know the energy and excitement, no matter whether it's an AFL ground or a local football ground, when a full forward gets on a roll, there's a buzz. And I remember as a kid going to Bell Park football, and there was a player there called Brad Stacey, and he'd get on a roll, and any of those. Ray Sarcevic was a legend.
The VFA was unbelievable.
Yeah,
Freddie Cook was on the go, or Reno Preto, or
So everyone.
Radonovic down at Geelong West.
Geelong West. Yeah, he's one of the greats down there. Yeah. But there'd be a moment. Hang on, how many's he got now? 8. Oh, 10's on the cards.
Yeah.
So if you had the prize pool of 10 goals, you had prize pool for mark of the year. So Nick Watson.
Yeah.
Took an absolute screamer. But how many balls would be kicked long and high? So if you went to Thursday night's game, St Kilda and Gold Coast, which they all filled their boots. There was 5 players over 35 touches.
Yeah.
But if you're late in the last quarter and you get a slow free kick 60 metres out, how many blokes you reckon are putting, hey, just lob it up to the square, things like that, and goal of the year. So,
well, you could do that in my fixture. You could do that with the Spud teams who are out of it.
No, everyone's in.
But the other ones are playing to survive.
Yep.
Right. So I agree a bit with what you're saying there.
So Jack Gunston's got 5. They're not going to make the 90-point margin. Last quarter, hey, where's Jack? Let's kick one little lateral sideways. Let's get him to 10 because that's, call it 100,000. We put 50 to the charity of Hawthorn's choice and 50 to...
Well, I like more the... I thought you were heading down this road, but I
don't like mine.
Again, under my fixture, the team that finishes on top of the ladder wins $1 million.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Okay? And you make a presentation.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard. I mean...
You and I have been in vigorous agreement for years that top of the ladder should get a greater reward.
Yeah, and it would have been Freo the week before when they would finish 2 games clear in front of their home crowd, and they get something, whatever it looks like, trophy, and $1 million that goes to the players and the coaches and the staff, or whatever it is. Make it $2 million.
Yep.
Don't have to be $1 million. We're giving away $1 million on hot seat in 1999. Got plenty of dough.
Yeah. Prize pool. What was your local footy club?
St Dominic's Broadmeadows.
St Dominic's
or CBC St Kilda.
CBC St Kilda just
St
received...
Dom's is no longer out in Broadmeadows. In fact, the entire league's gone.
So for me,
bugbear of mine
would have been 50 grand to Bell Park Footy Club.
Yeah. Well,
because I kicked 10.
Yeah.
That would have been nice kicking 10.
All right. The Jamal Medal, Bailey Smith gets 3, took Miller 2, Marcus Bontempelli 1. So under Jamal's leadership, the winner would have been Nick Dacos with 35 votes, Bailey Smith the run-up with 21, and Marcus Bontempelli 13. So thanks, Jamal. We really appreciate Jamal's impact.
Which he pretty much nailed because the Bartel Medal winner this year, it was locked up last round, was Nick Dacos. Just highlighting, we didn't do votes because it was already locked up, but just want to highlight, of course, I mentioned Jack Gunston, 300 magnificent games.
Yep.
Brad Hill, 300 games. There was huge performances across the round. Everyone filled their boots. Highest scoring round of the year.
Yep.
It was a stat fest.
Lowest tackle round of the year too, I reckon.
What's that? Lowest tackle.
Lowest tackle.
Do you know what it actually reminded me of? Do you know in the NFL, the final week is called bonus round.
Yep.
Because they've got so many contracts wide into how many catches, touchdowns, tackles, and they go out of their way to make sure they get their bonus. Yeah. It had a bit of feeling like that, like, hey, if you get 30...
well, that's why I like the idea, even the Spuds playing each other, because you're playing for your contract.
I love how you keep calling them Spuds.
Oh, well, you're out of it. What do you want to call them? The teams
Would you call Collingwood Spuds if they were 16th or
Well, you wouldn't if they get down that low. Yeah, there's usually a revolution going on. So calling other people spuds. Yeah, I caught up with Mason Cox last night.
Yep.
Yeah, he came around.
Goggles on?
No, yeah, he did.
Does he put goggles on to eat?
Did he have one? No. Yeah, he did. No, didn't. But he was actually going to get his eyes tested today.
Yeah. As his calf, he looked a bit sore.
No, he's right. He was in good form.
Yep.
Polished off about 3 steaks in front of me.
So of course he would.
He did.
Sizing.
I did. So he's sitting opposite me. So no, came around for dinner. It was good to catch up with him. And yeah, it's an amazing story. What an amazing story. If he was able to win a premiership at Collingwood and then win a
two-time premiership player.
A first-off premiership for Fremantle Dockers.
And holding out Darcy.
Gee whiz. Wow. All right, Wednesday for you, mate. We'll be back. And if you've got any questions for us, Eddie and Jimmy at tapmedia.com.au. Catch you later. Thanks to our great friends at Hyundai, the mighty Alexio. Have you had a go at these yet? Fantastic. Go to a Hyundai dealer, have a drive of the magnificent new Alexio. And Fiji Airways, visit FijiAirways.com to book your flight to Fiji and beyond. Fiji Airways, where happiness takes flight. Thanks very much for being part of our show, and we'll catch you on Wednesday.